All right, viewers. Now, as Donald Trump's tariffs threats loom large, markets around the world have also reacted and they have become volatile. The global indices, whether NASDAQ and Nikkei 225, Dow Jones, S&P 500 UR, Shanghai Composite have all dipped over the past week. The Indian markets have also slumped in reaction to these announcements. Both the BSE Sensex and the Nifty 50 are in the red. If one considers the trends from the past 5 days, the larger question is exactly that how will the markets look like after the announcement? All right, joining me live on the broadcast to speak on the same, in fact, the latest breakthrough that we are tracking from the global markets after the speculation on the reciprocal tariffs has emerged, Dr. Sharad Kohli, who's a senior economist, and Dr. Jayjeet Bhattacharya, who's the president of the CDEPR, are joining me live on the broadcast. Thank you very much to both of you for joining me live on the broadcast. Mr. Kohli, I would like to start taking the thoughts from you at this point of time. You have seen how the global markets have reacted, and specifically the Indian markets have also showed a slump. So what are your first thoughts specifically when we talk about the tariffs and how before the announcement there is much of a anticipation and how the reaction is not going well too much with the markets, and also after the announcement, what exactly is expected?
Good morning, Simran. Good morning to Dr. Jayjeet, and good morning to the viewers of NewsX. I think the markets are in a wait and watch mode as far as today is concerned, because by the time our markets close today, the announcements would not have come. So I think, but we have to keep in mind that the markets yesterday were in an oversold territory. The markets were really hammered yesterday, more than 350 points, Nifty more than 1300 points, Sensex is what we observed in terms of downfalls. So I think today would be more of a wait and watch. However, it's typical that when on a particular day the markets either rise or fall very, very sharply, the following day may not follow the same trend, because we call that in the stock market language, we call that a short covering, because there is a lot of speculation which happens in the market. So, some traders, they tend to cover the shorts. It's called short selling, and they cover it, which leads to a market recovery, which is what we are seeing right now as we speak. The market is slightly up, although I would not call this as a trend, because the real trend, as you rightly said, would be available after the announcements have come later today evening Indian time. So we will see the real movement in the market. In fact, it'll be early morning for us tomorrow when we'll see the impact. I think after all, I see this as a transitional phase. The Indian stock markets and the Indian trade circles, in terms of tariff war, may not after all be losers, because the way, as I've been saying on your channel, the way Indian government has negotiated with the US, the way we have negotiated with the US, led by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, followed by the two ministers, our Minister of Commerce, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Minister of External Affairs, Mr. S. Jaishankar, the way they have sat down with the US trade representatives, including Brendan Lynch, who came to India, item by item. Although one of the US trade reports which came from US did not speak very, very positive about India, but I suppose that report is a bit outdated. It's an older report which has come out. And so tariffs for India may not be that harsh. And, India would be the beneficiary of these tariffs, because as we see China, Mexico, Canada, where bulk of imports take place as far as America is concerned. So they may impose retaliatory tariffs. They may impose some of the item may be negotiated, but they will be the most losers. I think India, European Union as well, we should not forget them. So India, after all, may become a gainer, because when we find that there are these tariffs and secondary tariffs, I think problem for India could be the secondary tariffs, because on the Venezuelan oil and on the Russian oil, with the sanctions being there, the secondary tariffs can be huge. I mean, some circles even speak of 500% secondary tariffs. So I think India, at the end of the day, there may be a temporary reaction. There may be a bit of a jolt. Well, some of the demands being made by US on reciprocal tariffs are a little unfair. One particular item, Simran, I would like to mention here is the agriculture products. See, India is primarily an agriculture-driven economy. 60 to 70% of our population still, directly or indirectly, is dependent on agriculture. to impose 100% tariffs on Indian agri products, because India cannot be equated with the US on agri products. So I think that I feel is unfair. But on rest of the items, I think India has shown its willingness to probably bring things down. You can imagine a situation if India allows agri imports from US, what will happen to our own agri industry in India? I mean, it can spell devastation for that matter. Indian food in India is called the world's food basket now. So I think the things will take shape positively in the times to come, and it may not be as scary as it is appearing to be as of now. The initial reactions and the knee-jerk reactions may be there. Well, President Trump has shown willingness of softening his stance. He said, "Don't worry, we will probably not be as harsh as probably one is on the sergeant." But then we'll have to wait and see. It's a bit early to comment. But I think for India, at the end of the day, which is in about some time, we will see that India would be a gainer. I have absolutely no doubt about that, Simran.
Kohli, when we speak about how exactly this tariff announcements have taken shape in the recent week.